In Berkeley, California, Lauren McCluskey was born on February 12, 1997. Lauren's story begins in the vibrant city of Berkeley, a place known for its eclectic mix of cultures and famous university. Her parents, both esteemed professors, instilled in her a love for knowledge and a thirst for learning from a very young age. Her father, a prominent physicist, and her mother, a respected economist, were her first teachers. They nurtured her inquisitive mind and encouraged her to always pursue her passions. This early exposure to the world of academia lit a spark in Lauren that would continue to burn brightly throughout her life. But it wasn't just academics that Lauren was passionate about. She also displayed a natural talent for athletics, specifically track and field. From running in local races as a child to competing in regional championships as a teenager, Lauren's love for the sport was evident. Her parents, recognizing her talent and enthusiasm, supported her wholeheartedly, cheering her on from the sidelines at every event. She excelled academically, topping her class consistently and earning a reputation as a diligent student. Her teachers admired her dedication and her classmates looked up to her. Yet despite her achievements, she remained humble and grounded. Lauren McCluskey's early life was a testament to her character, a bright, compassionate, and determined individual who was always ready to challenge herself. As Lauren McCluskey journeyed through her early years, she was carving out a path that would lead her to become a promising student athlete. Lauren's high school years were a testament to her drive and determination. As she walked the halls of her high school, she was recognized not just for her sparkling personality, but also for her exceptional abilities both in the classroom and on the track. As the days of high school came to a close, Lauren stood tall at her graduation. When Lauren McCluskey decided to attend the University of Utah, she was recruited to become a member of the women's track and field team. She was a Washington State champion in the high jump and ranked 10th in the heptathlon at the USATF Outdoor Junior Championships. She had several other colleges and scholarships to choose from. Lauren was a star athlete from when she was a youth, climbing trees at the age of 2. McCluskey's teachers, coaches, and teammates had a high respect and regard for her as a multi-event athlete, for maintaining a high GPA, and as a person, she was someone who really cared about other people and her friendships. Somewhat an introvert, if you got to know her, you quickly found out that she was full of things to say and genuinely cared about other people, says her mother. Beyond athletics, she enjoyed karaoke singing and dancing with her closest friends. While attending the U, Lauren belonged to the Capitol Church in downtown SLC and would invite others to come along, encouraging them to sing. She had lived in Salt Lake City a few years when she met Melvin Rowland at a popular downtown bar where Rowland was working as a bouncer. He told her that he was in the military and trained as a security officer, and afterwards they met up a few times. This was a chapter of her life that began like many college romances do. A chance encounter, a shared smile, and before long, they were dating. Melvin, with his charming demeanor, seemed to be the perfect match for the vivacious Lauren. The initial stages of their relationship were filled with laughter, shared experiences, and fond memories, but as time went by, the relationship started to reveal a different, darker side. Red flags began to emerge, subtly at first, then more blatantly. There were the possessive tendencies, the controlling behavior, the lies that didn't add up. Lauren, being a woman of strength and resilience, didn't turn a blind eye to these signs. She recognized the unhealthy patterns and sought help. It wasn't long before she discovered the truth. Rowland was on parole and on the sexual offender list. She confronted Rowland face to face in her dorm room, he owned up, and McCluskey formally ended their relationship. She turned to friends, family, and even university authorities, voicing her concerns and fears. Yet, like many others in similar situations, she found herself caught in a web that was difficult to escape. The relationship turned into a fatal attraction. The love she once felt morphed into fear. Fear of the man she once trusted, fear of what he might do. It's a fear that countless others have felt in similar situations, a fear that is all too often dismissed until it's too late. It's important to remember, though, that Lauren was more than just a victim. She was a strong, determined woman who did everything in her power to protect herself. She raised her voice, she sought help, she fought back. But sometimes even the bravest fight can't change a tragic outcome. Lauren's trust in Melvin would unfortunately lead to a tragic end, and they ended their relationship, but she continued to receive messages and threats from Rowland. His friends posted about his suicide, which was fake, on social media, and blamed McCluskey as the cause. Rowland made frequent attempts, sometimes successful, to visit her at her university dorm. At one point, He demanded $1,000 from her to prevent him from posting explicit photos of the two of them. As Rowland's actions escalated, McCluskey began voicing concerns to her immediate family and closest friends. Because Rowland was a con and highly manipulative, things were difficult to discern. She didn't always believe he was a threat, or that her life was in danger, and she wished to take care of the situation by herself. But as friends can attest, she was growing more and more concerned and even frightened by his actions toward her. In a desperate call for help, Lauren reported her fears to the University of Utah campus police. She was a young woman in an increasingly precarious situation, and she sought the protection she was promised as a member of the university community. Officer Miguel Duras presented her case to campus police on October 12, 2018, to report she was being harassed. On October 13, 2018, she reported extortion. The police, including Officer Duras, never investigated her claims. At some point, Duras called her with a strange request. He asked her to hand over some questionable and explicit photos mentioned in the case. As we now know, Duras downloaded those pictures onto his personal phone and was overheard boasting to colleagues, remarking about her looks and being cute. Lauren didn't just reach out once, she knocked on the door of justice multiple times. She courageously voiced her concerns, laying bare the fears that were gnawing at her peace. She reported the threats, the harassment, and the extortion she was subjected to by a man who was supposed to love her. Her voice echoed through the halls of the campus police department, a plea for safety in a world that was becoming increasingly hostile. She wasn't silent. She wasn't passive. She took action. She did everything a person in her situation could be expected to do. Lauren trusted in the system, believed in its capacity to protect her. She expected those in the positions of authority to act, to intervene, to bring her torment to an end. Yet, as she reached out for help, the response she received was underwhelming at best. The system that was supposed to shield her, to stand between her and harm, was slow to act. Her reports were met with a lack of urgency, a lack of understanding of the gravity of her situation. The wheels of justice, instead of spinning swiftly into action, seemed to be stuck in a quagmire of administrative red tape and indifference. The actions taken were insufficient, a meager attempt to address a situation that required more. More understanding, more empathy, more urgency. The system, it seemed, was ill-prepared to handle a situation of this magnitude and complexity. The sad truth of it all is that Lauren's plight is not an isolated incident. It's a chilling reminder of a system that often fails those who need it the most. It's a wake-up call to institutions everywhere that more needs to be done to protect the vulnerable, to hear the voices of those who reach out for help. Despite her pleas for help, the system failed to protect Lauren. A failure that we must all learn from. A failure that we must never allow to happen again. Because every woman deserves to be heard, deserves to be protected. On October 22, 2018, Lauren McCluskey's vibrant life was tragically cut short. That afternoon, Lauren's ex-boyfriend Melvin Rowland had waited for Lauren in her resident hall for several hours. She was on the phone with her mother at 8:20 p.m. when Rowland confronted McCluskey, violently dragged her across the parking lot in front of her dorm, causing her to drop her phone and belongings. At 8:23 p.m., Matt McCluskey, Lauren's father, alerted campus security that his daughter was in danger. October 22, 2018 at 9:55 p.m., 21-year-old Lauren McCluskey was found dead inside the back of a car in the parking lot next to her University of Utah campus dormitory. She had been shot 7 times. It's too late now too. Rowland killed himself hours after McCluskey's death. The events leading up to her untimely demise are as chilling as they are heartbreaking. Lauren had been in contact with the University of Utah campus police multiple times, expressing her fears, her concerns. She had been pleading for help, for someone to take her seriously, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. Her life was abruptly halted in the prime of her youth, a tragedy that reverberated through our nation. The aftermath was a whirlwind of shock, grief, and outrage. The public outcry was deafening. How could this have happened? How could a young woman in the heart of a university campus, a place of learning and growth, be left so unprotected, so vulnerable? The university's response was met with widespread criticism. Their lack of action, their failure to provide adequate safety measures, their inability to protect one of their own students, became a stark reminder of the systemic failures that often plague our institutions. But amidst the outrage and the grief, there was also a call for change. A call for universities across the country to reevaluate their safety protocols, to ensure that no other student would ever have to endure what Lauren did. A call for justice. Lauren's story, her life, her tragic end, became a catalyst for change. Her memory became a rallying cry for those demanding better protection for students, more accountability from universities, and a safer environment for all. Lauren's life was extinguished far too soon, leaving behind a legacy of unfulfilled potential, but even in her absence, she continues to inspire and drive change. Her story is a poignant reminder of the work that still needs to be done, of the changes that still need to be made, and of the lives that still need to be protected. In the wake of her death, Lauren's story has ignited a conversation about campus safety and accountability. Her name has become synonymous with a call for change, a demand for better protection for students on campuses everywhere. The McCluskey family, in their grief, found a purpose: to ensure that Lauren's memory continues to inspire and challenge the status quo. They established the Lauren McCluskey Foundation, a beacon of hope and resilience. This foundation is dedicated to improving campus safety, supporting student athletes, and empowering victims of domestic violence. Through their relentless efforts, they aim to prevent such a tragedy from happening to another family. In the years since Lauren's untimely passing, significant strides have been made. Universities across the nation have started to take a hard look at their policies, addressing the gaps in their systems that failed Lauren. There's been a widespread push for more comprehensive training for campus police, better protocols for handling reports of harassment and violence, and increased resources for victim support services. These changes, while they may seem small, are steps in the right direction, steps towards a safer future for all students. Yet as we celebrate these victories, we must also recognize the work that still lies ahead. It's not enough to merely react, we must be proactive. There's a need for a cultural shift, a change in the way we perceive and respond to reports of harassment and violence. It's about fostering an environment where everyone feels safe and heard, where victims are not just acknowledged but believed and supported. Lauren's story has also prompted a broader dialogue about the prevalence of domestic violence in our society. It's a stark reminder that such violence can happen to anyone, anywhere, regardless of their background or status. This is a conversation that is long overdue. A conversation that we must continue to have, not just on college campuses, but in our homes, our workplaces, and our communities. In her 21 years of life, Lauren McCluskey touched many lives. She was a daughter, a friend, a student, and an athlete. She was known for her infectious smile, her competitive spirit, and her kind heart. Those who knew her speak of her dreams, her ambitions, her love for life. And it's this Lauren, the Lauren who lived and loved and dreamed, that we must remember. Lauren McCluskey's life was tragically cut short, but her legacy continues to inspire change and demand accountability. In our quest for justice, in our fight for a safer future, let us remember Lauren, not just as a symbol but as a young woman who had so much more to give. Let her story be a reminder that every life is precious, and that no one should ever have to live in fear. Let her legacy be a call to action, a call to make our world a safer place for all.